We're going to do a painted prayer, which is going to be very intuitive and expressive and allows for you to express your prayer through paint, in this case, I'm going to use acrylic paint. So I want to show you what I've done so far. I went ahead and laid down an underpainting and I blended red and yellow ochre. This is cad red and this is yellow ochre, and I mixed them up and I made them super duper watery, and then I just put them in a very watery light fashion all across the page of my art journal. And that's kind of, in my mind, just a way to get the white removed so that I have, and also to kind of have a warm color underneath. And then I started pulling out paints, and because this is a painted prayer and it's intuitive, I wanted to choose colors that I liked or that I was drawn to today. So I'll show you those colors. Today I chose to have on hand light blue violet, brilliant purple, light blue permanent, and Naples yellow hue. I do have my deep Hooker's green available in case I want it. Also, I pulled out lots of colors, teal and opera rose, just in case. I don't know if I'm going to use the opera rose or not. This may end up not having opera rose in it. We'll see what happens. So as I was saying, for a painted prayer, I was really initially thinking of just coming in with a kind of a blank slate and just picking colors and just slapping colors down left and right in a very, very abstract, intuitive way, and just kind of seeing what emerged. But as I was thinking about this, sitting here preparing my paints and my colors and my water and everything, I kind of started to get this image in my head of a vase with flowers. Of course, right? Surprise, surprise. That's, for me, that's what I always go to. That's my favorite subject matter. So if there's a favorite subject matter you have, you might want to kind of start painting towards that subject matter. But it doesn't have to look perfect. And in fact, it shouldn't, because this is supposed to be very intuitive, and it's kind of like speaking with your colors. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the camera down for us and turn it around. So let's show you this. And I'm just going to pop this into the arm, and I'll scoot this over just a little bit. Actually, it's okay where it is, I think. And then I've got my plate for my palette. I pulled out a couple of brushes. I purposely pulled out a big brush, kind of with a long handle to try to force myself to be loose. I pulled out a brush that's kind of got a nice skinny little tip, but it's a slanted brush. And I do have a little teeny tiny brush over in my water cup in case I need it. So let's just start with our colors. So let's get, so let me kind of get this. I need to pay attention to my laptop a minute here. I'm going to start it. So let's just, okay, I think it's okay. For some reason, it's just kind of frozen on my screen, but I'm just going to go for it and trust that everyone can see me. So if you watch the replay, please put replay in the comments below, just so I can know. I just like to know if anybody's watching these later. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and squeeze some of these colors onto my plate. And that is such a beautiful, what a beautiful color. Light blue violet and light blue permanent. I'll put that kind of right next to it. Oh, that's a pretty color too. Oh, wow. How beautiful. Look at those two colors so far. Okay, let's see. I really do need to fix this laptop. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. The laptop is just continually giving me fits. So I'm gonna exit out of Facebook altogether on the laptop. I'm gonna go back in and see if it'll start up. It looks like my hand is still going across the thing. So, okay, let's pull this up. I see it continually giving me. There, I'm back in business. Okay, let's get a little Naples yellow and put that on there. And I'm gonna pull, let's see, brilliant purple on here. And these are just some really pretty kind of pastel-y colors. And I am gonna pull my deep Hooker's green. I'm gonna put it over here, because I think I am gonna use that to kind of outline some stuff. And then of course I need white. Oh goodness, that was like right there. Okay, got a good bit of white. So I'm gonna start with my nice big brush and I'm gonna use it to draw with it. I'm actually gonna stand up. And how's everybody doing today, by the way? I hope your week is going well. So I'm gonna stand up, and that way I'm gonna try to keep a real loose grip on the brush. And I'm just gonna plunk a vase in here. In fact, I want the vase to be straight up and down. I don't want there to be any curvature. Just gonna plunk that in there. While I'm at it, I'm gonna just pull some stems. So let's pull some stems in here. Okay, I want stems going every which way. I want a short flower to be right here. I want a taller flower to be right there. Let's put another one right in here. I want one kind of coming over here. So we'll just do a straight line there. And let's put in, goodness, where else do I want a stem? I kind of really want a lot going on this side of the page, actually. So let's pull in, let's make this one longer. And let's pull in a nice short stem there. We'll just kind of curve it down. And maybe one here. Okay, so I'm just kind of throwing some potential stems in. And again, this is just incredibly intuitive. I have nothing to look at. So I'm gonna rinse that brush and get some of that dark green off. And then I'm gonna come in, and first I'm gonna just go into my white, and I'm just gonna kind of lay down some brush strokes, and I'm just gonna do a very simple flower shape. I'm really wanting to try to keep it simple, because this is more about painting for the prayer and the worship and the expression than it is about making something perfect. And so I'm gonna put three of this kind of shape. And I'm gonna mix some, let's go into our purple that I have here, and I'm gonna kind of mix that with the white that's on my brush. And let's do just a different shape. So we'll do something just like, kind of a cup shape. And I have no idea what kind of flower that is, but I kind of like it. So we're going with it. How about that? Again, just kind of a cup shape, just throwing down some petals. And let's put another one over here. I'm gonna get a little bit more of that purple on my brush. Mix a little white. And we'll pull that flower and we'll kind of put it at a little bit of a different angle this time if I can. And this flower is going to go right off the page. Okay, now we've got those in. So I'll definitely want to fill in some other flowers, I think, as I'm looking at this. But before I do want to get some more, I guess, leaves and greenery kind of thrown in here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and rinse this brush again. And let's pull some of this white into this dark green over here. And I'm going to kind of really start going in and brightening this up a little bit. That's really bright. But I'm just having fun. We'll see what happens. And let's pull in some of this yellow, this Naples yellow, and see what we get. I've never mixed the Naples yellow with that deep hooker's green and white before. So that's kind of an interesting color. I actually kind of like that. So I'm just gonna kind of pull some stems in different colors here. And then you'll see what I'm gonna do for the background too. So let's go ahead and pull in some nice dark centers. I'm just gonna go back into that deep hooker's green and just kind of lay in some dark centers on these white flowers. And let's see if I wanna maybe just touch in some leaves while I'm at it. And I'm gonna pull some leaves up here too. And pull some down here and pull some over here. Gonna let a leaf kind of drape down right here. And pull in some leaves on this one. This one maybe can have like a little leaf coming over this purple flower even. Let's pull a leaf up over here and one over there. And let's pull a leaf down here. And maybe one kind of spilling out over here. And maybe one spilling out over here. And so as I'm looking at this, I'm just kind of thinking I like the colors and I know kind of where I'm headed for the background. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start putting in the background just to kind of give my eye a little bit of what's going on. So I wanna keep it light though. I don't wanna have it super filled in perfect, if that makes sense. I kind of wanna have some of this orange almost peeking through in a lot of places. So I'm just gonna kind of really go fast. As fast as my little hand and arm will let me. And that's can be really hard to let go. The letting go part is really hard. There's this tendency that I have, I'm sure that other people have it too, to really want to be controlled and perfect, and that just kind of doesn't, it kind of takes the fun out of this exercise. So I'm trying to just remember, this is not a painting for anybody's wall. This is just between me and God, and let's talk about these colors. So because this is a painted prayer, I wanted to use colors that I really like, because I feel like God gives us unique desires. He literally places desires in our heart, and we're all unique, so we all like different colors. Well, these colors, to me, they mean things. They represent things. So blue, kind of a turquoisey blue, reminds me of a lot of different things. It reminds me of the sky. It reminds me of the ocean. It reminds me of turquoise rings that I loved to buy when I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona, growing up in my kind of junior high, high school years. We would go to this town. Well, we'd go quite a few different places in Arizona that had turquoise. There was always Indian turquoise jewelry being sold in a lot of places. A lot of Indian reservations were there in Arizona, which we just loved, loved visiting, and loved the people, loved how they made their jewelry. Oh wow, what an incredible sight to watch them make their jewelry. So this color kind of takes me back to that. And it's just part of my, I guess you would just say it's part of my lived experience. And so when I am thinking of communicating to God without words, I'm thinking that these colors are the colors that kind of are speaking for me. Okay, let's see here. I want to... These colors are the colors that kind of... had to check and see if the screen was on. It is, but it's not letting me see comments now. Oh, goodness. Are speaking for me. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just keep going here. Whoops. I got a little bit of that purple on my brush. So I'm gonna try not to let that purple get on here yet, but at some point I may want to have that in there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and even pull this into the jar so that you can kind of imagine that it's a glass jar, and that the color is peeking out. And I watered down the paint, and I'm just going to kind of pull that in lightly right over the top of those stems. And let's see if I can't pull in a little bit more. I think I want to pull in some darker green. Let's find a little bit of a different green here. I've got a green called, what is this called? Chromoxide green. And I do kind of want to see, I'm going to switch brushes for a minute. And I'm going to pull in that green. And I'm just going to kind of make some little strokes around in different places. And all those leaves, you know, are going to have shadow sides. They're going to have lighter sides, but I'm just going to kind of pull some of this in. And I'm going to pull in little attaching stems in some of these. So let's pull a little attaching stem right in here. And then I'll just kind of come in and pull this darker green in around the flower just to kind of give a hint that we've got other greenery going on in here. And let's give a little stem to these. And let's see, where else would I like to put some of this darker green? Let's pull in some here. And I can come back and put the lighter green back over the top of that later if I'd like to. But I might actually just pop in some dark green right there. Let's see. So now I'm just kind of popping in darker leaves, like I'm imagining that there's like darker leaves kind of just hanging around on all of these. Okay, maybe I'll pop in a nice dark leaf right there. I think I'll pop in some leaves here too. So let's see, I need to try to remember to talk while I'm painting. The other thing that I really like about the painting that I've kind of come up with just kind of on the spot is the florals. So the florals, I think that ever since I was a little girl, florals have just been a very special thing for me. I have a memory, so when I grew up in Michigan, I have a memory of my neighbor girl and I, so her name was Julie, and Julie and I, we spent a lot of time outside in nature. I lived right on the edge of a forest, and we had a very big yard. This was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And one day, Julie and I were up on this big hill, and there was this dead bird. And we were both big animal lovers. So we were really sad to see that this bird was dead. And we didn't see any, like it didn't look like it had been like nothing had tried to eat it or anything like that. So we knew that it must have just either, hit something or we really didn't know, but we thought that it needed a proper funeral. So we went around the whole forest And even, I think we might have hit up some of our neighbors' yards. And we picked wildflowers, and we probably picked some of the neighbors' not so wild flowers. And we literally encircled the bird, the dead bird, with these flowers. And we not only encircled the bird with the flowers, but we covered its body. So it was kind of like a blanket of flowers, really, is what it was. And that memory just really has stuck with me over the years of just that little bird, and we just felt so bad for him, and we just wanted to give him a really nice little funeral. And so we did. And I think that ever since then, I've just had this thing for flowers. I mean, yes, it started before that. If I think back, I actually remember another time when Julie and I went around collecting flowers from the neighbors' ditches. We thought that it was okay because they were in the ditch, not in their yard. So we didn't actually go into the yard and pick like decorative flowers from their yard, but they had flowers in the ditches and alongside the road, but it was considered their yard still. And we went around and we collected a bunch of flowers and we brought them home. We weren't at all ashamed of we didn't think we were doing anything wrong. We brought them home and we arranged them in a vase, and I think we might have given them to my mom or something like that. I'm a little hazy on the details of the memory. And she's like, "Where did you get these?" And we're like, "Oh, well, this was the ditch along Schneider's yard, and this was, this one we found here. We weren't ashamed at all. We didn't think we'd done anything wrong. So we were telling my mom where all these flowers came from." And she's like, "Oh dear, this is probably their flowers and you shouldn't have done that." Well, sure enough, she gets a call later from the Schneiders and the mom over there. And she's like, "Your daughter and her friend just picked a bunch of our flowers that I had just grown and took them." And so we got in trouble. I got in trouble. I don't think my friend Julie got in trouble. I mean, my mom brought it up to us both, but I think it was me that had to go over there to Schneider's and apologize and return the flowers. And she's like, "No, just keep them now, it's too late, So I did, brought them back and told my mom, she said we could keep them. So that is my kind of trip down memory lane here about flowers. Does anybody have awesome or not so awesome memories from childhood that kind of really shaped what you love, or subject matter that you are constantly drawn to in terms of painting or any type of art, crafts? I'd love to hear about it. Okay, so I'm kind of really going over everything that I had done with that other color, with this teal. And I'm just kind of trying to get some background in here. And then I might go back in and kind of bring more white in on these flowers here. And I may actually bring some nice dark contrast just to throw in here. Let's pull in some of this yellow kind of in a few spots here. And I'm just gonna kind of pull it in a few. And I'm really just trying to keep this very loose. I just want to give a suggestion of flowers. I don't want to give like a whole entire detailed flower. So let's just put our suggestions back in. Our hinting that there's a flower. Okay, now I want to get my white and I want to brighten up petals here. Just going to pull a nice big glob of white right over the top. And wouldn't you know, I'm running out of white. Kind of pulling that one up like that. Tanya, you would give them to your mama. So you gave your mama lots of flowers? Okay, I'm gonna pull in some Naples yellow and just spark up kind of the centers of these flowers a little bit. And those were some really big blobs of paint. I didn't necessarily want those blobs to be so big, but hey, that's okay. That's what's happened. And then I'm gonna pull in some of this Naples yellow back into that green. And let's see if I can't just even pull in like another bit of this green that's lighter, and just add it to the tops of some of these leaves. That Naples yellow is so pretty. Oops, that had a lot of white in it. Let's try that again. Okay. Oh man, tons of purple. Let's start again. Let's get that purple. Oh, that's kind of pretty actually, but I'm gonna get the purple off my brush here. And I do want to just kind of pull that lighter green in a few places, a few more places. Let's see, where else do I want it? On the top of that leaf. Let's pull some. And I'm kind of almost wanting more. Well, let's finish that thought right here. There's kind of all this dark green going on, and I kind of want to lighten that and actually pull in a little darker green stem. So let's go back into our dark hookers green. Get some of that back on my plate here. Just a little bit, just a tiny, tiny dot. Hi, Sherry. I didn't see your comment till just now. Your hello. So hello from me. Now let's pull in a nice dark leaf right over the top of all of this greenery. Just give a real nice contrast against some of the lighter greenery that's going on in the background. And I'm just gonna pull that dark stem kind of down here too. And then just kind of pull that darker into a few places. So let's pull that dark back into here. Okay, and I need to get my Naples yellow and pull in that color. Let's see, where do I want that? Let's pull that right here. Let's pull some here too. And I'm gonna pull some of that over this one. And I have to fix that one right there. Let's get a bunch of Naples yellow with that green. And I'll just come right over the top of that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna start kind of thinking back again about my jar. And so I definitely need a little bit more white. Oh goodness. I'm making a mess. Got it all over my fingers here. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this white and this turquoise together. Mix that up. I'm gonna, oops, oh dear. Had purple on my brush again. I better give a nice rinse. Okay, rinsed it out. Now we're gonna try that again. Try not to get the purple on this time. And I'm gonna pull some of that white straight onto the paper and just hit that. Like maybe we could make this side the side that has the light coming. So I'm just gonna lighten this whole thing up on this side. So I'm gonna imagine that that's my light source. And the whole beauty of just doing this like a painted prayer or painted worship session is just, it's more about the process of the painting and just kind of relaxing with the Lord and not thinking, oh, gotta make it perfect, it's gotta look just right. So I'm just constantly having to really remind myself of that. It's so easy to just slip back into this, idea that everything's got to look just so, and I'm going to pull some of this background color right up against this petal right here and just kind of make a nice triangle shape on either side of that stem. And again, I'm going to give a little bit of that background right back into here, maybe here, and maybe a little dash of background there. And I'm just gonna pull that lighter color kind of over the top of some of this paint going on. And then I wanna get water on my brush, and I kind of just wanna do this really watery version, and just in a few sections of this vase kind of pull that in, but I don't want to cover everything. I want some of those stems to shine through. And I kind of want to hint that there's the top of the jar is up here somewhere. So I'm just kind of hitting this with the light color in a few places. I should probably pull some green stems back down into there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, let's pull a little bit more of that turquoise in and just darken that side up a wee bit. There. Okay, and then back up to this area here. Just gonna kind of bring that background in around that leaf. Okay. And then I'm gonna pause And I'm gonna stand back and I'm just gonna see if there's anything I wanna add to this. I'll probably add just a couple more dark lines up for some stems and for the top of the jar. But for now, I'm gonna let this just really dry. And if I were to name this, I don't have to name the prayer, but if I were to give a theme to this prayer, it would be really thanking the Lord for flowers and just the different colors and even the different colors of leaves, even leaves, just all by themselves fascinate me. So this would be kind of just my way of like saying, Lord, see all these beautiful colors. This is what's in my heart. Here you go. I'm expressing this on up to you. All right, well, I think that is going to be where I'm going to end today's live. It is 11:45, and I've got stuff I've got to do. I've got some work I have to complete. So I will probably come back to this a little later this evening and put a photograph of the finished picture later. But I would love to see if you do your own painted prayer. I would love to see what colors inspire you, what kind of imagery inspires you. So feel free to do your own and then put a picture of it in the group, the Creatives Art Studio group. It's a private Facebook group. And if you are watching this on YouTube and you are a Christian creative and you want to come join us, please come join our group. We have Tammy who does watercolors, and I'm thinking it's Monday and Thursday. And then I typically do something on Wednesdays called Inspiring Creativity. And then something on Fridays. Lately, I've been just doing something impromptu on Fridays. But anyway, if you haven't joined this Facebook group yet, and you're hearing this on YouTube or some other platform, come join us. And we'd love to have you. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Be blessed.